Welcome to Alberta Conservation Association's Harvest Your Own podcast, the resource for everything hunting, navigating through the field, the butcher shop, and the kitchen. Life is all about great food. Let's get started.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Brad Fenson, an avid outdoor enthusiast who has worked as a freelance journalist, photographer, and public speaker for over 3 decades. I have hunted, fished, and foraged all my life and hope to share my passion for the outdoors. Along the way, I want to encourage everyone to harvest wild proteins and enjoy the satisfaction of providing the next meal for your family. Our goal is to educate, entertain, and inspire individuals to get outdoors and create a connection between food, health, and your future meals. Welcome to Harvest Your Own. Today I've got an old friend for a podcast, someone I met many years ago. I had an assignment to cover his involvement within the community and conservation efforts. Pak Wong from Provost. I think your address is still Provost, is it not?
Kind of, in the MD of Provost.
Oh, there you go.
I live about 10 minutes drive north of Czar.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Czar is just west of Provost.
That's right, yeah. And about half an hour south of Wainwright.
Yeah. Beautiful parkland habitat that's very diverse with an abundance of wildlife and fowl.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit more.
You bet.
I used to play out there a fair bit, and I know that you do now. Tell us a little bit about your history. You know, when I had an assignment years ago, I wrote in the Conservator magazine for Ducks Unlimited about Pak Wong, who owned the Greenhead Inn in Provost, and about your commitment to community and conservation and what you did. So, you know, it was a unique story about your life, where you came from, where you ended up in eastern Alberta. Maybe we could just cover some of that, please.
You bet. Love to talk about it.
Yeah.
And where would you like me to begin?
Where were you born?
I was born in Canton, China. I left China when I was 5 years old and moved to Hong Kong just before the communists closed the border between the two places. So I was pretty lucky to end up in Hong Kong and become more free than being stuck in the mainland.
Right. If your mom had left it much longer, you wouldn't have been able to get out.
No, it would be a lot tougher.
Yes.
Yeah. So she bought me my freedom.
Right. Yeah, sounds like a wise lady, and had a good life in Hong Kong.
Yes, I did. I spent 15 years in Hong Kong and educated and actually got into import and export business prior to my immigration to Canada.
Right. Yeah. So what brought you to Canada, and how old were you?
I was 20 years old when I came to Canada. It was a family commitment. I have an uncle in Winnipeg, have a restaurant, and his health was failing him. And he looked within the family for somebody to come and help. In our Chinese tradition, when you ask, you pretty well have to go.
Right.
So it was a tough decision to make, but I think it was one of the best decisions I ever made for myself.
Yeah, looking back, it's always a little bit clearer than at the time. I'm sure you were starting out with a new career and had your circle of friends and everything. It must have been tough to leave.
Oh, definitely. You know, I was in my late teen and just getting into everything at that time. And it's tough to leave the family and the friends, definitely. Right. Yeah.
So how big a shock was it moving to Winnipeg? What month did you get there?
I got there on the 18th of May.
Okay.
And it actually snowed that day when I get off the plane.
Right.
And this white stuff falling down, hitting my face. And I've never seen snow in my life until I got to Canada.
Yeah. And well, you probably caught the tail end of it for that year, but you would have found it full force that fall.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. It wasn't easy to take, but I'm used to it now. Like having lived in Winnipeg, Portage in Maine, where it's the coldest and windiest place in the world. Once I moved to Alberta, it wasn't too hard to take.
Yeah, they call it the Windy City for a reason. It seems like, I don't know if it's just the geography of it or the way the buildings are or the way the streets run, but it's just like a tunnel for the wind.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So how long were you in Winnipeg?
I was there for 12 years.
12?
Yeah.
So that puts you into your 30s already.
Yes, that'll be 1980 when I left. So I'll be in my 32 years old. Yeah.
Yep. And then you came to Alberta.
Yes, I came to Alberta in May of 1980.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you were stationed up in Grand Prairie.
Yes, I took a change of profession from the hospitality industry and went work for the federal bank instead, into banking, which was quite a change from my 24/7 type of schedule with the restaurant and hotel industry. So it was a very relaxing time for me, and it's also a very opportunity time for me to get into the community side of things, and that's where I started getting into the community involvement.
Right. So it's interesting. You moved to Grand Prairie, which many of us as hunters would consider it's pretty close to being a paradise in terms of having everything there. But you had never hunted in your life.
No, it was big game country, and I ran hotels and I worked at the bank and traveled quite a bit in the Peace Country into BC and also northern Alberta. But hunting was never...
Not even on the radar.
Not on the radar at all, yeah.
No, but a lot of good things did happen to you in Grand Prairie. That's where you met your lovely wife.
Oh, definitely. That's I always joke about the best thing I ever got out of Grand Prairie was my wife, Allison. Yeah.
Yes, I remember Allison at the Greenhead Inn when we've stopped in there over the years. I used to stay there when I worked in that part of the world. And, of course, if we were out hunting, you have to have breakfast there. And I'm sure she had the hand in cooking it most of those days.
Oh, definitely, yeah. She's a rescue chef by trade.
Yep.
And she loves to cook. And so, we make a good team together. Don't ask me to cook you a meal because that's not my forte.
Right. Yeah. So it's interesting. You were in Grand Prairie. You met a lovely lady. You got married. And how did you end up in Provost, Alberta?
It's through my banking connection. One of my clients had a motel in Valleyville called the Horizon Motel, and he also had one in Provost. So when I left the bank and started working for the hospitality industry, again, I ended up managing the Golden Inn in Grand Prairie. He, in 1984, looked me up and said to me, Park, I'm trying to do an expansion down in Provost. Right now, I only got 30 rooms in that property, but I wanted to double the size. And in the process, I want to build a restaurant in the middle. Would you be interested in a turnkey operation? So, having been in business for many, many years, it's always my dream to have my own restaurant. So I said, well, if the right term and arrangement is available, we're interested. So basically, we designed what we want. He built it. And in 1985, the summer of 85, we came down and opened it up.
Wow. So, you look at what happened in your life through a very short period of time. China, Hong Kong, off to Winnipeg, up to Grand Prairie. All these things happen and you end up in Provost. What were your first thoughts of Provost when you got out there?
When I look back all these years, every time I move from Hong Kong, which is a big multi-million population, to Winnipeg was a tremendous downsize. And then I moved to Grand Prairie, and from Grand Prairie to Provost. And I find that my circle of friends and people that I know is bigger than when I was in the city that had 4 million people.
Wow, interesting.
It is very interesting because in a big city, you don't even know the two neighbors other than the two next to you.
Yep.
But in small town, you know everybody, especially in the industry that I'm in.
Right. If you're involved in the industry and you're, serving people meals and booking family and friends into the hotel, and you sort of get to meet all the movers and shakers pretty quick.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. It's part of the thing that is so enjoyable being in that industry.
Yeah.
It's that never a day the same, and you look forward to meeting all these people and find out how they're doing and keep up with the gossips in the town and all that.
Yeah. It's interesting as hunters, we, look at the Greenhead Inn in Provost and we think, oh, here's a guy that's probably an avid hunter. The Greenhead Inn, that's a hunter's, it draws you right in.
Yeah. It wasn't like that when I took over, but
right.
It didn't take me long to change that.
You weren't a hunter at all?
None at all. I never handled a firearm, never know that you can actually find meat by hunting.
Right.
Yeah.
So you moved to Provost, you were well established in your job. I believe you're 45 years old when somebody said, hey, Pak, let's go goose hunting.
Yeah, it's a lot of nudging from my friends and also customers.
Right.
Being in the hotel business, in the fall, we cater to a lot of hunting traffic. And a lot of time people would say, well, come out with us and try it out. And having worked long hours and late nights, getting up early is really not my cup of tea.
Right.
So I always said to people, you guys are crazy getting up at 5 a.m. I have better things to do. So I never did take up the offers until one time a local farmer, a regular customer, Ron Israelson, he said, you don't like getting up early? I said, not really, Ron. I work till midnight, 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
I said, okay, how about an afternoon hunt? I said, what is an afternoon hunt? I said, well, we just go out in the afternoon and set up the blind and put a few decoys out and hunt for a few hours, and you'll be home for supper. So, well, gee, that sounds like a great idea. So one afternoon, he picked me up, took me out to his farm. Never operated a firearm in my life. He showed me the operations of a shotgun, a 12 gauge shotgun, and then showed me how to handle it, the safety aspect of it, and then throw a few clay pigeons, and bang, I hit one. You're good to go. And then that afternoon, he took me out, showed me what to do, how to set up decoys, and all the ins and outs of tips on hunting. And what happened after that was just amazing. We had a limit of Canada geese within half an hour to an hour, and that was it. I was hooked.
It changed your life.
It did. It changed me tremendously. Probably one of the best hobby that I could have ever got myself into.
What did you feel? You'd never been a hunter. You'd never thought of it. People teased you with the idea of going. Someone came up with the right opportunity to tease you to get out there, and you were successful beyond your belief the first time. How did it make you feel?
It's amazing because it shows a person you never say never to anything. You got to try it once at least, and I'm glad I made the decision to do it. And as I progress in this hobby, I found that hunting is really not about killing at all. It's more about the camaraderie that we created. I think the biggest thing I get out of it is how close it brings me to my family, especially my kids, because they all hunt.
They do now.
Oh, they pick up right after me, and then that becomes one of our family tradition.
Right.
Sometime when kids grow up, it's hard to find, like, they all go in different direction, and it's very hard to even get them to come home and visit. But with hunting, I have no problem with that. Actually, they have to make reservations for certain weekends.
Nice.
Because the house could only accommodate so many of them at a time. Yeah.
That's a good problem to have, isn't it?
It is. It brought me so much closer to my kids, especially my son. When you hunt together, you have lots of time. And they open up to you.
Right. But your daughters hunt, your son-in-laws hunt.
Every one of them.
Every one of them. And none of them were a hunter before. This all sort of stemmed from your influence?
I wouldn't say 100%. Let's say my son-in-law, Jeff, he brought up in northern Ontario. So he had exposure to hunting and canoeing and all the outdoors. But he didn't really get into it until he got to Provost. He was telling me that he used to go out and moose hunt with his cousins and some older hunters. And all he ever done was walk the bush and push the animal to the shooters.
Right.
He never shot a moose in his life.
Wow.
Until he met up with me. So that's kind of, he's one of my best hunting buddy.
This podcast is produced for Harvest Your Own, a program dedicated to those who want to reconnect with food and health through their experiences outdoors. HarvestYourOwn.ca is a resource for individuals to learn more about hunting and the outdoors. There's information to get you started and ensure that your compass stays pointed in the right direction to be successful. Where's your next meal coming from?
How long did it take you to make the leap from just waterfowl hunting to other things?
Right away the same season.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I started bird hunting in September, and right November 1st, when the big game season opened, I got myself a whitetail tag and got one in the second day.
Nice.
Yeah, it was just amazing how it happened, and from there on, I have not quit, and I make up for lost time.
So hunting is obviously a big part of your yearly planning.
It is, yeah. My family are so used to me not being at the hotel during that time of year. They're giving up trying to make me work, and
right.
and I'm for that I'm very grateful, because without their support and understanding, I don't think I would even come close to my experience today with hunting.
Yeah, it's interesting that, I don't know if this is true or not, but when you work for yourself and you work in the hospitality industry, it is very demanding. It's more hours than the average job. Maybe hunting gave you that little taste of freedom where you could do something for yourself. And, you strengthen yourself and clear your mind and go back fresh. It really changes your life.
Definitely. I did a lot of my thinking and planning during hunting.
Right.
Going to and coming back, or sitting in the blind. It's a big stress relief for me. And then also the connection. Getting to meet so many interesting people. I found that a hunter is a special breed. When we come across somebody that a hunter, instantly you become friends, and it's amazing because you have the same interests.
It's funny you say that, because I've said that no matter where. I've traveled a lot around the world, but anywhere in North America for sure, I run into somebody that's a hunter, and automatically you have things to talk about. You have a bond. I don't know, you just communicate differently.
Oh, I can tell you a little story on how I get my elk in a bow elk in Montana.
Yeah.
I bought one of those hunting package from Ducks Unlimited Banquet one time, and it was a duck hunt in 3 different duck camps in Louisiana. So I went there. I met up with 3 different DU members that hosted me for the hunts, and I end up in one place in Lafayette, Louisiana, and on a 1,000-acre rice field that a fellow owns and operates. So I always take a lot of pictures with me when I hunt. So when I get back to the hotel afterward, and I always have a little album that I kept in the front desk with all my hunting expeditions, so just to show customers and keep for my own self, right?
Right.
And a local family was having supper in the restaurant, and he called me over and said, "Park, you should show Joe your hunting album." So I said, "Okay." So I grabbed my album and took it over to the table, and Joe Simpson, he was from Montana. He was out doing a whitetail hunt with his son-in-law from Calgary. So he was flipping through the pictures, and all of a sudden he looked at the Jeffrey Swenson. I know him. We worked together in Dubai. So that's the rice field farmer that was in. So right there, we become close friends right there. I'll talk about all that. And then the next year, he decided to come and do some goose hunt with me, and we did. And before he left, he said, "Park, do you elk hunt?" I said, "Do I elk hunt? I love elk hunting." He said, "Well, you do that. You go and put a jaw into Wisdom, Montana, and you most likely will get it because they're trying to promote the sports for people to come in. And if you do, you give me a call. I put it in that next March, and lo and behold, I got you on. So I called Joe right away. I said, Joe, I got my tag for elk. He said, oh, that's good. You meet me about October 30th in Wisdom, and we'll go from there. Because back in the States, getting permission is almost impossible.
It's different than Alberta, that's for sure.
But because of his connection, he knows some of the biggest ranchers down there. So that's how I was able to get down, meet him. He pointed me in, they have about 3 or 4 different ranches that I can hunt on in a relatively close area. And I got myself a bull elk.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, that was amazing how you come to meet people and the connection that facilitate all that.
Yeah, it's funny. You go to a Ducks Unlimited dinner, buy a duck hunt in Louisiana, come home with some pictures, show somebody that is friends with them from Dubai, of all places, and, it's amazing where things can lead.
It is.
Yeah, that just opens the doors. Yep. How hard was it becoming a hunter as an adult?
I never find it hard. I'm the kind of guy that when I really put my mind into something, I do it 110%.
Right.
Same with when I involve in organizations and stuff like that. If I don't think I can do my best and put my best time into it, I wouldn't want to get involved because it's not fair. So I treat hunting the same way. And the other thing also too, being a business person, I always have the business angle of anything I do. And hunting, after I took up the sports, it becomes a big part of my business. Though sometimes we take for granted on things that are already there. There's it's always hunting, the animals are around and all that. But I found that people don't necessarily have to patronize your place if you don't offer them anything other than just being the convenience of here. So when I started getting involved with hunting, I thought, wow, this is a tremendous opportunity for me to build my business around that. Because being around Alberta in oil, I have seen every ups and downs in the oil field.
The highs, the lows, and everything in between.
When things are busy, you couldn't keep up. When things are not busy, you try to figure out what can I do to get some room business. So, but hunting has always been there. And then a lot of the operators so take it for granted and say, they're always going to come. So they don't do anything about it. So when I got into hunting, I said, no, I'm going to develop myself a niche market using that. And by being involved and become part of the community, I also distinguish myself from my competitors. Because as you probably know, hunters need information. Because when we go to a strange place, you don't know the place, you don't know the people, you don't know the landscape. If there's somebody there that can provide you that information, where would you go? You would stay with him.
Yeah,
right?
It makes the first steps easier.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did for many, many years. And towards the time before I retired from it, we probably have about 400 room nights every season from hunters.
Wow.
And that's not a small number to shake at.
That's right. Well, you're kind of modest too, because I ended up with that assignment to write about you in the Conservator because of your, I'd say it's a commitment to community. You're a hunter and you fell into the hunting community. You fell in love with it overnight. You embraced it. You wanted to share it with other hunters. You did so. It helped your business, but you were also involved in building soccer fields and getting basketball tournaments and community initiatives underway throughout the Provost area.
Yes, I find that, like moving from one big center and smaller as I go, that in order to make the community strong and to raise your kids in it, you got to make the change yourself. Don't depend on other people to do it for you. You got to jump in and say, if I don't like it, I want to make change. are going to be involved. And I think that's so true in smaller center. You have to take the initiative to be out there. And being in business is even more important. I always use the term see and be seen. An example is I go down to the post office every morning for my mail. And invariably, I got to run into 5 or 6 people checking the mailboxes. And so often, 2 of those people will be at my place for lunch.
Wow.
You know why? Because they see me.
Right.
So they say, "Oh, let's go to lunch." Where? Greenet. I just seen Park. that you can't know for sure, but history tells me that's been the case.
Yeah, part of that's your personality too. You're pretty open. You don't let people walk by without saying hi.
Oh, definitely. It's part of my philosophy in the public relationship side. We had a motto in our operation: when a customer walks into the door, he's got to be acknowledged within seconds.
Right.
Whether you're going to serve him or not, that's besides the point. But you got to acknowledge the presence, and that's how we train our staff.
Well, it's a good value for life. I've got a friend in Whitehorse, and I learned a lot going up to visit him over the years. We'd walk down the street, and he'd look every single person we met in the eye and say hello with a hearty hello. And, you could tell when he ran across people that he'd encountered in the past because they were just as anxious to greet him as he was to see them.
Yeah, it is so important. I think we, being in the hospitality business, a smile or just a hello is so important.
Yeah. So your community involvement, I like to tell people the world is run by those that show up. And that really does make a big difference. And it does in your own life in terms of what you do. Stepping up as a 45-year-old, taking your first step as a hunter, changed your life. It opened your eyes to new opportunities, new adventures. It brought you closer to family and friends. It introduced you to new friends. It changed your business. It was very influential in terms of where you went.
Yes, I think that's the essence of got to be able to put yourself 100% into something and be genuine. Make things better when you find them, and that's my philosophy in life.
This podcast was made possible by Alberta Conservation Association and the Harvest Your Own community. If you're interested in harvesting your own food, there's a comprehensive collection of information to gain insight and knowledge. Head to the field, harvest your own protein, prepare it, and taste the results. HarvestYourOwn.ca is a library of information from getting started and geared up to processing, butchering, and cooking wild game to make the connection between health and food.
Advice. Some adults might be out there listening to the podcast thinking, should I try hunting? What's your advice to anyone that hasn't tried it, that has any inkling at all to get into the hunting community?
Get into it. There's no age limit. I mean, I'm a example of that. How many people get into something at 45 years old and been doing it for the last 30.
Yeah.
And I'm not quitting. I'm still going. And I'm still planning and scheming on what I can do better. I do a lot of mentoring with younger people, with people that really never have the opportunity or know-how or connection to do it. You probably understand as a hunter, the connection is critical. And being able to provide that link to people that are hesitant about trying because it's so foreign and new to them. And I try to be that conduit that can make it happen for them.
Yeah, and I'm glad to say that I think most of the hunting community is like that. Most of us like to share. My family likes to take out new people every year and introduce them to hunting, how to clean them, how to prepare them, share recipes. Right from start to finish, we walk people through it, and it's a real eye-opener for them.
Oh, definitely. Even in my business, so many times I build a clientele because of my eagerness to help them. There's one time, probably 2003, when we go through those dry years, a father and son from Portland, Oregon, drove all the way up to Provost because some friends told them Provost is a good area. But on the way up, everything was dry. And as they get to Provost, they start to question themselves, why are we here? So they were sitting in a restaurant, having supper with a long face, and right away I spotted the camel clothing. I know they were hunters, right? So I always make a point to strike up a conversation, find out where they're from, and blah, blah. So he told me their observation of the situation is that, no, you're in the best place for waterfowl. And there's no other lie because I do it myself. And I said, did you get a hunt for the morning? So no, we couldn't find anything. So I had a hunt lined up for the morning with my nephew, just the two of us. So I said, well, why don't you guys come out with us? And from there on, father and sons been coming again for the next 15 years.
Wow.
You know, and that's kind of things that sometimes we say, well, we are pretty protective of our secret and all that. I said, to me, no. These people only come to Provost for a week. I want to make every day that they're here enjoyable and fulfilling. I can hunt tomorrow and the day after and so on and so forth. But these guys, they don't get a hunt, they miss one day. So my philosophy, if I scout and I find 2 or 3 opportunity and there's a guy don't have one for the morning, he's going to get one of those.
Yeah. You know, it's funny because a lot of hunters would probably think of other hunters as a little bit selfish, not sharing, you know, trying to get the most out of things that way. But the way to get the most out of hunting is to make your heart feel so wonderful and overwhelmed by helping people. And it is a feeling that is hard to describe. You need to experience and do it to figure it out. Oh,
definitely. Yeah. I think, you know, even in business, we always talk about return on investment. As far as advertising and stuff like that, we can never put a dollar figure. If I spend $10 on advertising, I'm going to get 100, whatever. No. But if you do it right, it's always going to be there.
Right.
Come back to you in small ways.
Yeah, absolutely. You live in a place now that is absolutely wonderful. You're retired, you know, live out in the country, still in the Provost area.
Yep.
And how would you describe the area?
I call it the Serengeti of the prairies. We were right next to the south of the Army base, border the ecological zone, and the ranch that I'm at right now have 10 quarters of grazing land, and it's just teeming with animals of all kinds.
Nice.
I have hunted that property for almost 25 years prior to moving out there full-time. And now I can just walk out of my front door and I'll be hunting.
Wow.
And I have intimate knowledge of the movement of animal because I have cell cam all over the place. And it's wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, and trail cams are nice because you're involved with wildlife year round. It's not just spying on them; it's learning more about them, seeing what's there, and you just find more enjoyment from them.
It is, yeah. The only thing that I have to really get my wife's permission to do that because whenever it takes a picture, I got a little beep on my phone, and it could be 3:00 in the morning. But she's gotten used to it.
That's good. I think you're pretty lucky. You've got a very understanding wife, and she had to have embraced your love for hunting right from day one too, or you wouldn't have got as far as you did.
Yes, that's one of the best thing about our relationship. We respect each other's interests, and we fully support each other's interests. She's a dressage rider. She loves to ride. She loves to cook, and which is great because the family's been enjoying all kinds of beautiful dishes that she whipped up with all the wild animals that we bring home. And that's part of it is to be able to support each other. You know, like from September to the end of November, they cover everything that I need to do at the motel. My son, when the kids were home, they all understand that's not going to be around too much at that time.
Well, that's good. You know, I learned a lot more about you with you wrote a book recently, Beyond Adversity, Dawn Awaits. And it is an interesting biography of your life, starting off as a young child in China, moving to Hong Kong, through your teenage years and influenced by business and other people and all the rest of it, and how you ended up in Canada, bouncing around, moving around, establishing a family, different businesses. It is a very interesting story, but it really provides hope and I think the right outlook on life, because we all run into adversity, but it's how you deal with it.
Precisely. I remember in my younger years, I'm very hard on myself, and when something happened, you always say, why me, and all that. But as the year goes by, you started to learn, no, that's not the right way to handle any kind of problem. Now, what I looked at is, okay, it happened. What are the alternatives? How can we get better? You can't change what's already done.
No, you can't.
Yeah, so you got to look forward, be positive, and make the best of it. And throughout my life, I found that it's so true. You know, sometimes the bad things that happen to us can be a prelude to the good things that are just about to come. Right. Only if you are open to accepting it.
Yeah, you know, there's lots of challenges in life, and it's whether we can rise to those challenges, overcome them, and become a bigger person and learn from it. It might sound a little cliche, but it is really true. How we deal with things and how we move forward in life helps define us.
Oh, definitely. I fully come to the point now, live each day, and don't worry about tomorrow. Yesterday, lesson learned, and keep that in mind, and move forward. Yeah. And plan for the future. Well,
I'd also say that, like I said earlier, you're blessed to have a partner that is so supportive of everything you do. I think the two of you work well together, and I need to ask, what's your favorite wild game meal that Allison makes for you?
We had that recipe that Pat Kehoe shared with me called Korean barbecue marinade.
Right. I use the same one.
Yes. She can do wonders with that, with elk, moose, deer, everything. And I can't remember the last time I eat beef, other than sometime in the restaurant. Other than that, everything that we have at home are wild games, which is great.
Yeah. What a special time. A change for her life, too, because as a Red Seal chef, she probably hadn't dealt with a lot of wild game, and this was a new introduction that changed her life as well.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. You know, many years ago, before mad cow disease, as a restaurateur, we were allowed to cook wild game for hunters if they bring the meat in, and we just serve it to them. And then ever since the mad cow disease, we weren't allowed to do that. So that was kind of sad to see, because it was such a nice thing to be able to cook up different dishes in the Oriental style, so that people really appreciate the wild game itself.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's so many different ways to enjoy it. You know, I publish a bunch of recipes. We have a pile of them on Harvest Your Own. I know you've perused that site, and hopefully there's something there that catches your eye as well.
Oh, you bet. Yeah, I've been trying a few of those.
Oh, good. Yeah. Well, you've had a very interesting journey. Your attitude is very positive and uplifting and inspirational for others. And I want to thank you for not only taking the time to come in and record a podcast, but taking the time to write that book and share it with people.
Yeah, it's a very worthwhile exercise. In the process, I rediscover myself again. And I would encourage anybody to take up that journey. We all have a story to tell. Don't shortchange yourself, because, you know, when you meet somebody, you look in the face, there's all kinds of interesting happening with that person.
I think there's another book in you called Pack the Hunter.
As a matter of fact, once I started reading some of the things that I cover, I like to hone in a little bit more onto the hunting side of it, and also my community involvement with sports. I'm a avid basketball enthusiast, and I've been doing it on an organized fashion since I went to Grand Prairie, and that was 40-some years ago. And I just kind of retired from it last year. I'm still involved, but my body's telling me, maybe you shouldn't be doing that anymore in the tournament. And but it's something that I really enjoy, and it's probably one of the best things for me, physically and mentally, because being in the hospitality industry, the long hours, you need that relief. And when I'm out in the court or hunting, I don't think about any of that.
It's a great way to clear your mind.
It is. Yeah. It is. Yeah.
Well, thanks again for coming in. We appreciate you as a guest on Harvest Your Own.
Thank you very much for the invitation. I fully enjoyed it. Thank you.
We hope to inspire people to reconnect with nature and appreciate where your food comes from by harvesting your own. For more information on getting started or to learn specifics about the Field to Fork experience, visit harvestyourown.ca and follow on Facebook and Instagram. Check back often for new material, recipes, and videos that are posted regularly. Please subscribe to Harvest Your Own podcast and take the time to rate and review the show to help us build a dedicated core of passionate hunters as our regular audience. Until next time, embrace the outdoors and all it has to offer. Thanks for joining us.